Okay.
think when anything big happens in your life, or you're worried about family members, or stuff, it kind of makes you relook at your whole life and say, I'm spending all my days doing this. Why?
Mm-hmm.
And so really kind of made me rethink and say, you know what, now's the time. I ended up taking leave of absence from BP, and then I just never went back. But to take care of some family stuff, and then kind of just I got a job at a nightclub on the weekends, uh, so I could work weekends, and it was one of the most fun jobs I ever had. I was programming light shows for DJs, which was great.
What
I
was
was
that? Was that like on Craigslist or something? Like light programmer for DJs? Like, how'd you even find that?
No, so it was actually really funny. I had never worked in a restaurant before. I needed to make extra money because I wasn't at BP, and a friend was working at this. It was like a restaurant in the bottom and a club in the top, and
Okay.
they're like, we need a hostess, and I was like, sure. I've never done that. Was not very good at it. I actually got a bad Yelp review, and my mom was like, who is this hostess? And I was like, oh shit. I just wasn't good at it, but I
uh,
fixed all their computer problems. Like they had computer issues, and I was
okay.
doing that. And they were like, "Well, we need help upstairs with the club lights." And so, anyways, that was
You're like,
what I
okay.
was. So, yeah.
So the next thing you know, you're upstairs working on the lights, just like that. You went from hostess to okay. I can almost see you as a hostess. You're like you're sitting over here. Come on, follow me. Like,
Yeah, I'm too directive a person. I wasn't good with the
I,
pleasantries. It's not my calling.
yeah, I can see that. I can see, yeah, I can sense that. Yeah. So, all right. So now you're upstairs. All of a sudden, you're like helping DJs with lights and stuff. Okay, this is a fascinating story. All right.
Yeah, and
Meanwhile,
it was finally a combination of engineering and art and creative
oh,
that
oh,
I feel like I
oh,
had always been looking for.
I see.
Between the internship at MTV and then Northrop Grumman, and this kind of
Right.
finally combines that. And I was making minimum wage, nothing. But
But
I
loving it,
I love
loving
yeah,
it.
I loved it. And I was really talking with the DJs. At the time, no one was making money selling records anymore. They were only making money doing live shows. And so I said, okay, well, what if you could do 10 shows at the same time? We can live stream your shows. We can recreate the same light show. It's all programmed. And I was like, no offense. No one cares if you're there. It's the light show. Um, you know, and that's kind of where VNTANA initially started. And
Ah,
then people wanted holograms, and so we could do that, and we did our first hologram of Nicky Romero for Kia cars. This is right before Nicky Romero got really big. He's since become a top 10 DJ,
okay.
and we somehow pulled that off. We built it with Home Depot parts, and that's that's kind of how it started. And then we got our first investors from that. And this was 8 years ago. So this is before there were VR headsets on the market. This is
I
before
see.
phones could do augmented reality. So we were doing these location-based mixed reality experiences.
What does that
Um,
mean? What does that mean? Mixed reality experience. Go ahead.
yeah, so we had hardware to project a digital image in our environment. So kind of like,
Okay.
say you hold up your phone and you can see like a Pokemon Go. We were doing that, but with like a giant clear screen. So it looked like that DJ was on stage, or it
I
looked like
see.
that hologram logo was floating there in our environment. And so, we built a profitable company doing that. All of our clients were brands, though, not DJs. We learned very quickly brands are who pay for
Right.
concerts. They're the money behind that.
Right. Right.
So we said, what else do you guys want to do? You're paying us. So what else do you want to do with this technology we built? And they wanted to engage consumers. And so we started doing lots of holograms of executives and celebrity endorsement deals. And then, of course, products. And when it came to their products, nobody had the right 3D files you needed to do this sort of thing.
Okay.
And it kind of reminds me, in the 80s, we went from film to digital
Uh-huh.
transition
Okay.
of content. And so now, in the past 10 years, we started this transition of digital to CGI or 3D. Like the shoe behind me, that's
Uh-huh.
CGI. That's not a photo. This was done with our software, with
I
3D
see.
software.
Okay.
And so we ended up having to create all this software to easily create, the holograms of products for these like location-based experiences. But then now that web can support 3D and phones can do augmented reality. There's all these other needs for these 3D assets. So that led us to where we are today. It was a crazy long story of licensing our software so people can easily create 3D models of their products and put them on their website, have augmented reality built in so you can hold up your phone and see that shoe overlaid on your foot or that patio furniture, in your yard, and then even drop it into virtual reality.
I see. Okay, so I'm going to back up just a tad. So the software, so it's a SaaS company now, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so the software originally you built because you needed it for yourself to do these holograms, and then at some point you're like, wait a minute, our business is actually the software and selling the software service. That's how it happened. So
Exactly.
there were a few pivots in there along the way as VNTANA grew. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we, started as music. Brands were the ones paying us for the hologram concerts. So we very quickly said, what else do you want to pay for?
Yeah.
And then, events and events are great because they pay you 50% cash up front, 50% cash on the events. That's how we're able to operate profitably for a number of years. We didn't have to raise the same amount of venture capital that like other Silicon Valley startups would have to.
Yeah, great.
And then we kept kind of plugging away at this content problem, and really last year is when we decided, we're like, now's the time. Facebook has launched their AR advertising. Google has launched Google Swirl, so you can advertise in 3D on Google, which most people don't realize. Snap Lens is now everywhere, so I'm actually using Snap Lens now. So these
Oh,
are
cool. Oh, I like it.
with our software and dropped them into Snap Lens. So we just saw this
Oh,
huge need. And so last year we decided, this is the future of the company. We need to open up our software, license it to people. And then the really crazy thing is COVID. I mean, no one saw that coming. Every retailer became a direct to consumer brand overnight, right? There's no stores.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's all online. So how do you give consumers confidence in buying, with just online? Well, having a 3D version of your product has proven to double conversion rates as opposed to just a 2D image, because people
Yeah.
have a better understanding. And then if you can actually do virtual try on, like these glasses on my face or
Yeah.
shoes on my feet,
I like it.
companies like ours have seen 11x increase in revenue, which is crazy. Like,
That is. I mean, so are apparel companies and shoe companies your primary customer right now, or your primary target?
yeah, we work with a lot of like fashion,
Right.
accessories, and furniture. I'd say lots of
Oh,
furniture as well.
oh,
Yeah.
right. Okay. So the difference between the pictures that I see on Amazon, where you can like click on the front, back, and whatever, the difference now is I can actually use your software from the retailer I'm buying. So the retailer is using your software so that I can put that couch in my living room and look at it
Yes.
and change colors.
Yeah, and it's one thing, you could hire an agency to do that tomorrow with one couch. Like they could do it manually. It costs a lot
Okay.
of money. It would take a while. Our
Okay.
software automates it. So we can help
I
companies do it at
see.
scale. So when we talk to Adidas, they launch 25,000 products a year. So when you talk about, you can't do that manually, you
I see.
need a software solution like ours to
I see.
automate that.
I see. And it's a license they buy. What is it like? What's the business model? Is it like, hey, you can have one of your marketing people use a license, or how do you sell that? What's the model?
Yeah, we just charge based on the number of files that you upload.
The number of files.
So
I see.
yeah, so if you're a smaller company and you only have, you sell 25 products, you're on the $75 a month plan. That's very doable. If you are
I see.
in 25,000 products a year, that's a more like enterprise level license.
I see. Is this proprietary, like protected stuff? I mean, are you going to have people copy this and all of a sudden you got 10 people doing the same thing? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so when we look at the competitive space, we look at Sketchfab and CG Trader. They're two companies that
Okay.
they looked at this problem and they created a marketplace. So I can go on there and buy a random 3D tennis shoe I need for my game if I'm building a 3D game.
I
Or
see.
I can go on and hire a 3D artist in India because they're less expensive than a 3D artist in LA.
Okay.
but there's still that time associated. We looked at this and said there needs to be an enterprise solution because Adidas is not going to put their Yeezy shoe on there. And so we're kind of more that enterprise solution. We've got 7 patents issued, 14 filed around
Nice. Nice.
around our different our differences and what we've thought about how this our algorithms work basically. And that's a fun story. So Jim, our patent attorney, he's great. I met him because when we were first starting the company. I just like went back to USC and like sat in on MBA classes. I was like, I don't need an MBA. I just like need more information. So, and in my mind, I was like, I've already paid for
Right.
a master's in engineering. They won't care. So I just like went to a few classes, and this one had this guest speaker who was Jim, who's an IP attorney at the time for Cisco. And I just had like a million questions. And he was like, what are you building? And I was like, come to our office, come see it. So like me and Ben, my co-founder, like showed Jim our holograms, everything we were doing. And he was like, I think you guys have something here. I want to help. And he really became our first advisor.
Wow.
So Jim has helped us do all of our
Nice.
patents, which is incredible. He's since started his own firm called Bemke Ventures, like trying to, help more startups and stuff. But
Was it a trade of services? Was it like, hey, look, you get the patents for us, I'll give you a little bit of equity?
yeah, no, really. I mean, yeah, we gave him equity, but he was awesome. Like he's gone so above and beyond.
That's
I would
great.
say every startup should be wary of someone who like just straight up asked for equity in the beginning. Like it was never weird. Like he never did that. It just kind
Uh-huh.
of happened organically.
Good advice. Good advice. Yeah, wait for it to happen organically and see what they're
Yeah,
contributing. See if are they
right.
truly going to contribute. Yeah, that's big. So you didn't at first, you bootstrapped it and you had revenue right away, even back when it was just holograms and live events. I mean, you had revenue in the beginning, so you didn't have to raise a bunch of cash in the beginning. You just bootstrapped it and used that cash. Is that right?
Yeah, we bootstrapped for a long time. We did raise about like 2 million in seed funding, like
What?
along the way,
Oh, okay.
which allowed us to kind of get bigger and add some more
Yeah.
tech, hire some more people we needed to because we couldn't keep up with everything we were doing. And that kind of led us to this past year where we said, look, now's the time for this software. This is the bigger win. This is the bigger opportunity for the company. And so we did raise just at the end of last year about $5 million to be able to grow
It's nice.
the software
Was
side.
that your Series A, so to speak, or was it
I
still?
guess I like hate all the terms. I'm like,
Right.
we call it the lightning round. Like that's what,
I,
that's what I call it. But yeah, so I guess that's our Series A.
I was just talking to another entrepreneur from New York. He owns another company. I won't mention the company, but he's like, I don't know, bro. It's like Series E, whatever. I don't keep up. I needed cash. We raised some cash.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, great for you. Was it difficult for you on the cash raise? Is that hard for you? Did you find that like, oh, I hate doing this, or natural for you? Talk to us about raising cash a little bit for those entrepreneurs out there that are in a situation now where they need to raise a good amount. Just give them a little bit of advice and what it was like for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, I learned everything the hard way. I had no background in any of this, right? I'd studied engineering for a long time and worked at nightclubs. So, and my co-founder, he majored in business, but you really, the smartest people I know will get a job as an analyst at a VC firm out of college, work there for 1 to 2 years,
Mm.
meet people, understand how it works, and then go start their companies.
Ooh, ooh,
I've
okay.
seen and them they have a much easier time raising money. They know what investors want to see. They already have those relationships because so much of it is about relationships. They want to know who you are and trust you, and they want to see you go from point A to point B and maybe to point C. So that's why it takes time because you have to prove to them, I'm here the day you meet me, but look at all these milestones I've made, and so
Yeah.
you believe that I'm going to meet these other milestones.
And you didn't do any of those things. You just were like, hey, I've never done this before, but I need you to give me cash.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I had some great mentors along the way. Tilt Ventures was one of the first funds who they kind of like led our seed round with Paradigm Talent Agency, and, you know, Lawrence Anton at Paradigm, he came and saw us and was like, well, this is pretty amazing. You built this with Home Depot parts. Like, I wonder what you can do with money. And then me as a partner at Tilt, who's still like a great friend and mentor. And she was like, no one knows who you are. You need to go out. You need to meet people. You need to go to these events. It was like the networking side that I didn't really ever think about prior to that. So yeah, they really helped, and I learned a lot along the way. I joined a lot of, women's groups that kind of help make those connections. Because, historically, I think women are only getting 4% of all venture capital funding.
Somebody else gave me a stat like that recently. Another entrepreneur. Yeah, it was a super low stat like that. I was like, wow, that's crazy. That's a crazy stat. I had no idea it was that low. That's crazy. Yeah. For you, I call it shaking hands and kissing babies a little bit, the networking related. If like for you, like, is that tough for you? Like okay, I can do this if I need to, but it's not my favorite.
I just like made myself, I'm going to go to 1 or 2 events a week. And if I'm there, I'm going to pass out 5 business cards. I just had to make it like a very, like, I can't leave till I do this, The
Riderflex podcast features entrepreneurs, business executives, and the stories behind how they got there, as well as daily tips on career advice and job interviews. Our show can be heard just about anywhere these days, but you can visit riderflex.com and click on the podcast page to hear all the previous episodes and learn more about the recruiting and consulting services we provide. Contact us at the email address info@riderflex.com or 888-964-5876. Thanks so much for listening, and if you enjoy our show, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like the episodes.